Now, one of the things that you have to do when you're going to turn around a mobile home park is you've got to find tenants who believe in your vision for the place. So what I'm going to show you here is actually one of probably the worst homes we had ever had when we bought a park. And just a couple months later, it's starting to become one of the best. What you're looking at in front of me here is a double wide mobile home, probably about 80% through a complete renovation. This is not a renovation I'm personally doing. This is a home at our park that when we bought this park, we inherited it. And I took one look at the thing and said, hey, this needs way more work than I'm capable or qualified of doing. So what we did is we actually sold this home to a gentleman who is a full-time carpenter. He builds houses for a living. And basically our offer we made to him was simple. We will give you the home for a really good deal. So we sold this entire home that you see here for $6,000 as is. And you've just got to pay us lot rent and you've got to agree to fix certain things on the exterior. So you can see we did have him agree to fix certain things, but man, he has gone above and beyond. We've got a really good project here in place. And basically what's happening is he's taking extra material from projects he's working on and he's using it to build his own home. So you can tell right now it's all different kind of hodgepodge textures because he's in the middle of the process. But what's gonna happen is once he gets it all done, he's gonna paint this and it's gonna be a phenomenal looking house. Probably the best one we have in this community once it's all said and done. So the whole reason I would take a home like that and sell it rather than try to fix it up and rent it out myself is because I try to stay out of the business of renting personal property, which is what a mobile home is. But even if it was real estate, if you could tell, that one actually does have a brick foundation. So in some areas, it may actually be considered real estate, depending on how you set it up. But at the end of the day, I try to keep life simple. I want to rent people land. I want them to deal with their own house and just pay me a small amount each month for renting the lot. Now, when it comes to this, typically what you're going to see in a situation like this, when you're actually going to own a home like that as a park owner, is there's a couple ways. A, you just bought the property, and after you closed, you inherited some of the homes that the previous owner had, and now you've got to get them off your books. Or sometimes what you'll see is a tenant will start to get behind on rent, and they own their own house. And what we typically do on our management side of things is just offer to buy the house from them so they have some cash, they leave. And then we get this house, which we don't really want. We just want to turn around and sell it to somebody who's going to fix it up and do a better job. Now, in the industry, these are known as handyman specials. Sometimes that's used as a joke. Hey, this is just a really rough home. It's a handyman special. But it is a legitimate thing. And if you do it the right way, it can easily turn around a mobile home park without much money out of your pocket. Or in the case of that home that you just saw at the beginning of this video, we actually got paid for that. Believe it or not, we actually sold that home for $6,000. Now, did we pay for it? Technically, when we bought the park, it was part of it. The way I underwrite mobile home parks, I don't put any value on the homes. I got a whole nother video on that on my channel on how to underwrite mobile home parks if you're interested in looking at how I do it. But basically, it's a free home. It's free real estate, as the famous meme says. So I just try to get it off my books, get some cash, but I want to find somebody who's going to take that home and do a really good job with it. Early on in my investing career, I didn't do a good job of this, right? I would just say, hey, the first person who showed up in a pickup truck who would say they'd want to fix this home is theirs. And I want to tell you that is a very slippery slope. And what you will end up finding is people who will take a home like we just saw, and before they renovate it, they're just going to live in it and they're really not going to fix anything. And now you've got a really crappy looking home and somebody living in there. And if they're willing to live in a home like that, they're usually not the best tenants. They're usually not paying you on time. They're going to chain up dogs, all sorts of headache that you don't want. So how do you find the right people to do this? The best thing I have found is don't reach out trying to find a tenant. Reach out trying to find somebody and take the mindset that you're hiring somebody to fix this house. Now that's what we did. So when we had this home, we did two things. We posted it on Facebook Marketplace, which is going to get you all sorts of different responses, but sometimes it's not the greatest. And we also made little yard signs that we put up in different areas. Now, the reason I like this approach, you can go right to the source. I need somebody who knows how to build a house, and I want them to buy this house from me. So where did I put up that sign? In this town, I put it up in a neighborhood that was being developed, right? None of the houses are occupied yet. So the only people going in and out of there all day are contractors. They know how to fix these houses. So I can trust, I have a different phone number for that sign, that if people are calling me off of that sign,
then we've got a pretty good chance that they're going to be able to do what they say, and they're going to have the skills to back it up, right? Because what you'll have is you'll sell this home to somebody and they'll say, oh, I could build a house from the ground up. Question I always like to ask: A, can I see a picture of that house you could build from the ground up? And B, is it still standing, right? I could probably build a house from the ground up today, but it wouldn't last really long. And that's what you want. You want somebody who's going to come in there and do a good job. Now, some homes don't need a whole lot, and you can be a lot less picky with who you put in those. If they just need some exterior paint, sometimes it's better as the park owner to just fix the stuff on the outside and let people deal with what they need to on the inside. This was not a house like that. The outside looked like an absolute train wreck. The siding was fine, but the front was caving in. But the real problem on this house was that the roof had not been replaced in about 7 years. This home was just sitting there empty for 7 years. So that leads to electrical problems, water seeping in, and water is way more catastrophic on a home than fire. And so when I was meeting people who were potentially going to be the tenant who would buy, renovate, and then live in this house, I treated them like the contractors and figured out what they needed. I always love asking, what do you think it's going to cost to fix this home? I met a guy out here who we had already had applied. We were ready to go. We had his lease ready. He told me probably $3,000-4,000 he was going to be able to do it. Now, maybe he actually could have done it for $3,000 or $4,000, but that could tell me right off the bat he was going to do a god-awful job. I mean, if you can see some of the pictures of the house, again, the outside was not terrible. Maybe some love and it'd be fine. But you could tell, like, yeah, right here, the roof, it had complete sections missing. So when you get inside of it, it had basically the whole thing collapsed and just kind of dripped onto the floor. And the pictures really just don't do it justice how much water damage there was in this house. So when I was interviewing the people that would be potential tenants for this house, the one guy who we ended up selling to said he thought it was going to be about $25,000. Now that told me one thing right away. I wasn't asking him of like, hey, what are you going to charge me to fix this, right? I'm there to meet him and show him the house that he's going to buy. So he has no reason to be dishonest with me. And he said, yeah, it's probably going to be about $25,000. Now that told me one thing. He's going to do a very good job. You don't spend $25,000 when you're the labor and do a poor job, which is eventually what we got out of this house, right? He did a really, really good job fixing it up. And at the end of the day, what I love about this, I, as the park owner, got some cash. I did not have to go deep into spending and headache to try to get somebody to renovate this. I just sold it to somebody. It was an empty lot. Now it's an occupied lot. It's worth about $40,000 on the park's balance sheet. And at the end of the day, that is what mobile home park investing is about. Get your park full. Don't worry about the houses. Leave that to the people who live in them, right? That's what they're much better at than me. Now, here's the best part about this situation, right? I got $6,000 as the park owner. I had this home. I get some money up front. Great. I'm made whole. Well, $6,000 is a fantastic price to buy a home, even in the condition of that. That is a fantastic deal on a house. Now, also as the park owner, I now have somebody paying me lot rent from the day that they started the renovation. So that lot is occupied. So if I go to refinance this property in 12 months and they've seen that somebody's paying on that lot, it adds real value to the park at about 100 times whatever the rent is. So in this case, it's $375, call it $37,000 of value that we have added to the park just from this. We're not lifting a hammer. We're not going out there trying to do the renovations. Believe me, been there, done that. It's just not fun. I do not enjoy flooring homes in Alabama that don't have air conditioning in the middle of July. It's not my thing, right? But what we also get is we get somebody who has skills and excess time out of their work and access to free materials or very heavily discounted materials who can create their own affordable house. This is why I think mobile home parks are one of the really only true affordable housing solutions that our country currently has. Where else on the planet can you buy a house for $6,000? Well, I don't want to say planet because you guys are going to mention some continents I'm not a fan of going to, but where else in America can you buy the property existing for $6,000, fix it up for around $20,000, and live in a 1,600 square foot house? 3 beds, 2 baths, enough room for you and your family, and you're close to great schools. It's actually one of the best school districts in the state of Alabama. It's pretty much impossible, right? But what I love about this, it's a win-win scenario. I got an occupied lot. I don't have to worry about that tenant having a crappy lot that I got to go and issue notices to every other month and say, hey, fix this, fix that. I have a good tenant who's going to do a great job of fixing the park. And I tell you, as a side effect, when you start getting enough people in your park who are actually handy, you will notice the homes that even they're not the owners of start to go up in value. And why? They're neighbors. They say, hey, let me fix this. I'll, buy me a case of beer. I'll help you fix your skirting, blah, blah, blah. That really does happen. These are communities. And when you get people in there who know how to fix things, it's always going to go well. But again, I cannot stress enough how important it is when you're doing a handyman special. You need to be patient. You need to find the right person to do the job. You need to find the right person who has a good plan. Do you have somewhere? Here's some great questions you can ask. Do you have somewhere else to live while you're renovating the home? If the answer is no, they're gone. They're not going to live there and do the renovation. I promise you that is a headache you do not want, because they're just going to get used to the way it is, and the next thing you know, hey, we're done. The other thing you can specify is you need to always finish the exterior improvements within a certain amount of time. Personally, as a park owner, I'm not really concerned with how long it takes you to do the inside. It might take you 12 months, might take you 2 days. I don't know. But what I care about is that when people drive through this community, they see a finished house that looks incredible. That is the only thing that I would say as a park owner that you should stress that they finish in a certain amount of time. Now, that's exactly what we did in this situation. When this guy applied, we basically said, hey, I'll give you, a 2-month grace period, but then you have to have the exterior completely finished, including skirting, painting, new roof. All this stuff has to be done in 60 days. Otherwise, you're going to get this amount of fine. And it's just in his lease. So if he's not done, we're just going to issue fines. But in this case, I know he's going to get done. He's doing a phenomenal job. But if you do not take the patient approach, what you're going to end up is with people in there who tell you they're going to do something. And if you don't vet them and you don't feel them out and make sure they really know what they're talking about, you're going to have to end up evicting them. And you've sold them the house, so now you've got to take that back over and do all sorts of stuff. It's just not a great way to go. So take your time. If it has to sit vacant for an extra couple months, that's fine. Get the right person in there. Make sure they got the right crew. Figure out what their plan is for trash. I can't tell how many times when I used to do this, people would just leave the debris of the construction project out in the front yard. Now, until the home is done, it looks just like a big trashy pile of crap home. But when this guy, he told me, he's like, oh, I'll have a dumpster there. And sure enough, he had a dumpster there the next day. He keeps all the trash in there. It looks like a professional project. And so people understand, hey, this is actually a really nice improvement project that this guy's doing. So at the end of the day, now when it comes back to buying a park and you see homes like this, you have to be careful. You have to make sure the home can be renovated. And also just kind of get an idea of like, hey, even if you were to renovate this home, will it look good? Typically, it's like if it's earlier than the 90s, it's probably not. So it's still just going to look like a really old, crappy home, even if you do a phenomenal job. But at the end of the day, if you find opportunities like this where there's a vinyl-sided, large, double-wide in a great town, yes, it is an opportunity for you as the park owner to take and get these easy value-add deals as long as you're patient and you do it right. So if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and comment on other mobile home park investing topics you like to hear. All the videos I do are from suggestions of other people who say, hey, what do you do in this situation? What do you do in that situation? And I try to just make this the channel that teaches people exactly how to do a good job owning and operating mobile home parks. So have a good one.